Welcome back to Weekends with Alex Witt. In two speeches this week, President Obama celebrated the 50th anniversary of the landmark Civil Rights Act, but also decried what he called the stark truth that voting rights in this nation are under attack.
America did not stand up and did not march and did not sacrifice the right to vote for themselves and for others, only to see it denied to their kids and their grandchildren. We've got to pay attention to this.
Joining me now is Democratic Congressman from Wisconsin, Gwen Moore. Ms. Moore, thank you very much for being here. I would like to ask you about when you put together the president's two speeches this week, what do you think his message is on the state of civil rights today?
Well, I can tell you that he presented himself as the embodiment of what the civil rights movement produced. Really the ability for African Americans to vote for representatives of their own choice and to have some power in that. I think that his speech was inspirational. I think that it was designed to mobilize and motivate voters to rise up despite the voter suppression laws that are being put out there now.
Ma'am, it's been about 10 months or so since the Supreme Court struck down part of the Voting Rights Act. What do you see as being the effect of that so far?
Well, I can tell you that the effect of the Voting Rights Act being struck down has really emboldened several states since then to initiate more voter restriction laws, including voter ID laws, ending early voting, the souls to the polls, really trying to frustrate every effort that is being made to expand the vote. You know, when you stop and think about the numbers of times that the Constitution has been amended so that Americans could vote, 6, 7 times, plus the Voting Rights Act, you have got to realize that Americans are serious about everybody having a right to vote. And as the president mentioned in one of his speeches, that 196,000 votes were and they found 40 people who weren't entitled to vote that voted. And so this is a solution ending voter rights in search of a problem.
Mm-hmm. At the LBJ event, civil rights leader Andrew Young proposed putting pictures on Social Security cards as a compromise on voter ID laws. And, of course, everyone gets a Social Security card for free. So what do you think of this idea?
Well, I haven't had time to vet it because, you know, I haven't seen my Social Security card in I don't know how long. People don't use this on a regular, ordinary, daily basis. I think it's dangerous to have that ID and that picture where you're handling it on a daily basis. People need to secure their Social Security card. You know, that is the point. The point is that we should not be erecting barriers to a constitutional right. The bar ought to be extremely high to stop a person from voting. And that's a very hard bar to say that you have to walk around with your private Social Security number with your picture on it in order to be able to vote.
Yeah, something, again, that the White House is going to look at, but like you, has not had time to vet it, and they'll also look at it and put it under consideration. I want to switch gears here and talk about the Budget Committee on which you serve. So I want to ask about the committee chairman, Paul Ryan's plan that passed the numbers 219 to 205 in the House this week. Is there anything in his plan that you as a Democrat find workable in a compromise?
Well, I can tell you that Paul Ryan has a very heavy lift, and that is to get his members to vote for it. I mean, 69% of the cuts fall on the backs of women and children, vulnerable, the poor, the elderly. It basically undercuts the promise of the social safety net, Medicare and Medicaid, to our elderly in the future. And it doesn't take one single hair off of the heads of the very wealthy. In fact, it provides $200,000 on average of tax relief to the wealthiest in our society, and then raises taxes by $2,000 on everybody else. It is it is the worst of the budgets and the so-called paths to prosperity that he has put out. And this is his last budget, but he's had a very difficult time. And it is, a matter of fact, it doesn't consider comprehensive immigration, which would bring in almost $1 trillion, $900 billion within the budget window. It's a bad bill.
So if you look at it with that analysis, what do you think is his motivation for putting out this bill, which by some measures and some descriptions is described as draconian?
Well, it is. I mean, the one thing that he accomplishes here in his budget is he wants to lower corporate taxes by 25%, down to 25%. That was his goal. And so no matter who it maims, cripples, or kills, he is able to accomplish that. And, of course, it doesn't balance as he claims that it does. But his claim is that he balances it within the budget window. But that doesn't happen either, because he repeals the Affordable Care Act, the so-called Obamacare, which in itself provides extensive savings. And, you know, to be even more cynical, the Republicans rant on and on about the $700 billion that was taken out for Medicare, but he uses those savings to so-called balance his budget. So the math doesn't add up. It's a political document. Thank God it won't pass.
All right, Congresswoman Gwen Moore, thank you so much for your time.